First things first, let me tell you, this is going to be the longest thoughts video yet. Let me get one negative out of the way first. The game has little to no story. I have to be honest here. The way the story is told in this game is through these very brief cutscenes after the mission, as well as your instructor giving you small background on the target before the mission. Because of the way the story is told, it's very hard not only to follow the story, but to introduce and develop characters. The story of Hitman has to do with this organization called Providence. It's made up of the most powerful people in the world, whether they're known to the public or not. People like CEOs and the heads of medicine at giant hospitals, or giant names in the Hitman business. Not that you're one of them, but you have these people that are some of the most powerful people in the world in their certain areas. You get recruited into the ICA after an unknown past. You pass their test like they're nothing and become their top assassin almost instantly, but also one of the main threats to the organization due to your unknown past. After killing everyone, from a military general to a fashion designer, you end up finding some evidence against the head of the ICA, Eric Soders. The final mission includes you killing him. Your handler then gets a picture of the hitman from when he was a kid. It might not sound like much, but after everything that happens, it's very enticing to know that Agent 47 had a childhood. All in all, it's not a bad story per se, but it's definitely not a Batman Arkham City level of storytelling, you know? It's good, and it definitely qualifies for a second season. However, I'd say that this is probably my biggest negative with the game. It's the biggest problem with the game. So here's my problem. Hitman, let me explain here. The Hitman series as an entire big franchise has always been a story-driven stealth assassination simulation game. This game, no matter how weak but good the story is not in any way story-driven, and that's why I'm torn. I really don't know if I should dock it because of what previous games did and what the franchise is known for, or if I should give it extra points for differing from its own franchise, differing from its own predecessors, and taking a shot in the dark. Moving past the story, I want to talk about the stellar gameplay and the new systems put in place after Absolution. The gameplay is great. It really, really is. Few games can get my heart pounding out of my chest while I'm doing the tutorial level for the 4th time. Yes, I did the tutorial level for the 4th time. I did it 4 different times because I wanted 100% it. 100%ing each level is something that I want to do, but I honestly just don't know if I'll have the time. These levels are massive, and it took me 2 hours to 100% the tutorial, which is on a medium-sized yacht. The point is that these levels are enormous and seemingly endless. You know, this was just the tutorial level. This was a small slice of what is to come. And that makes an open world experience in a closed environment. The fact that you're able to go and explore these huge levels in any way you want. I actually kind of want to elaborate on that, you know? I cannot really recall a game where the developer has done this, aside from open areas and a linear storyline, but this game feels like it's a huge open world to explore, partially because the levels are so big, like I was saying, and I say partially because they are huge and they're elaborate, and I'll get more on that in a minute, you know? I'm going to talk more about that here in a minute, but the other reason they feel open world is because there's so much diversity. I'm not only like looking at settings that are the same thing, but people and surroundings are different as well. It's not just a different setting each level or a different part of the level. The people and the surroundings are different, and I think the best way to describe this, the best way to give an example, is to talk about the mission set in Colorado, where you're tasked with killing 4 people with different backgrounds. I want to highlight how close the orchard and the house are together. There are probably about 10 steps, but they are drastically different. On the orchard, you'll find apricots, while in the house, you'll find huge computer towers and stuff. They're super diverse, and it's a huge change in scenery, and I absolutely love it. As far as systems go, everyone knows about the opportunity system that was implemented in this new game, and all I want to say is that it's absolutely perfect. Each opportunity is different, each opportunity is unique, and each opportunity uses the environment in different ways. There's one where you can make a guy have an OCD attack, and there's one where you can dress up as a plague doctor. There's even one where you can dress up as a famous model. These are awesome, and they're just great, and Best of all, they're creative, which is the biggest thing for me. They use their environment in such a unique way, in such a creative way, that it makes me feel like I'm really hiding in the middle of a whatever. Like, it's hard to explain. It really is. But the biggest thing you have to take away from this is that these things are insanely diverse, and that's what makes them special. No opportunity even echoes a different one. That makes you feel like you're the one being creative as opposed to having a linear way to kill your target, right? You feel like you're moving around the environment instead of just, here's the guy, shoot him. It's also worth noting that you are in no way pushed to do these at all, ever. Every single one is optional, and if you really want, you could go for your target and shoot them in the face if you so desire. If you really want, you can go and you can use the opportunity and you can kill the guy silently if you desire. The point is that each and every opportunity is like a smaller mission within a mission. Sometimes they're not even to kill the target. Sometimes they're just to get the target alone so you can knock him out or poison him, etc., etc., etc. Or just to mess up their pattern so they don't talk to target X, The system is not only perfect, but it's arguably revolutionary. It reminds me a lot of the Nemesis system from Shadow of Mordor, where no one else has done it, but it's perfect already. Let me talk about level design for a minute and how perfect it is. Every game should try to have a level design as good as Hitman's. Every area has a certain people allowed to be in, and you have to become that person by getting a disguise. So a cook cannot go upstairs, but a military operative can. However, there's an added level of depth where if you were to take the same scenario of the military operative being allowed to go upstairs, maybe operative can't go in the kitchen. Hitman is designed like this. Your disguise acts like a key card of some sorts, but just because you have a different disguise on doesn't mean you can go near a certain part of the map, right? You can always sneak around, but depending on the security in place, they may shoot you on sight. An example of this is the fact that a gardener could not go into the underground secret lab. Okay, that's cool, but what does it have to do with level design, you ask? Well, absolutely everything, I say. The way you move through level is based off the disguise system, and that's really, really cool because it makes you explore, it makes you be creative instead of funneling the creativity into you. Maybe you're trying to get away with disguise and you realize that you can sneak up to the next level by using a pipe you see outside. Then you decide to take that route and end up on a totally different path than where you were originally. Aside from how you move through levels, the size and scale of these levels are amazing. The best, in my opinion, is the mission where you're tasked with taking down a general in Marrakech? I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. Not that the level was big, but the scale was crazy. And it was big, but the scale was more impressive. Hundreds of NPCs flooded the market where I was stalking my prey. It was crazy. I lost them, then I found them again, then I lost them again. And these people were buying and selling, then buying again. The scale of that level still amazes me 3 months later. As far as size goes, Paris and Hokkaido come to mind. I think it's called Hokkaido. I think that's how you pronounce it. Anyway, I usually got lost in both these levels, and the first time I played them, and every once in a while when I play them again, I still get lost, even when I've gotten to mastery level 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 sometimes. The scale of those levels are crazy. The scale and the size of those levels are insane. Paris and Hokkaido especially, they're huge. You can tell the designers put lots of time and effort into this, and it ends up looking like a maze, right? You're trying to formulate a plan to get in room X so you can use disguise Y to get into room B so I can lure the target out, and so on and so on and so on. You're making these steps to navigate this level with coffee shops and fashion runways and big empty rooms that seem like they should be there for something but aren't. These two levels are the sandbox levels, the Paris and Hokkaido. The ones that let you play around with everything in the environment, whether it be shooting down chandeliers or cleaning out the sauna by turning up the heat. I really quickly want to talk about planning your assassinations. As you do a level more and more and more and more and more and more, you will work towards mastery, as long as you do it differently, of course, but that's obvious. Once you get to certain levels of mastery, you unlock starting areas, weapons, etc., and you can use these to your advantage. This is a very good system for rewarding replaying levels. You make it more interesting, and don't make the player fix the same problem with the same tools. Give them an Allen wrench instead of a screwdriver and see what they do. Anyway, I just kind of wanted to mention this real quick because the way they do this was awesome, and I really appreciated the rewards for replaying levels again and again and again. Looking at the sandbox aspect of this game is very interesting. The sandbox in this game is really hard to put into words, but let me put it like this. They're like big futuristic sandbox with lots of toys and lots of friends to play with, and the sandbox has a juice bar for you and your sandbox buddies. The levels are obviously huge sandboxes, that's what every Hitman game is, and the best way to prove this is to challenge yourself to kill your target not using any of the opportunities. This will show you how big and massive and how much freedom you have inside these levels. It's actually a lot of fun. I've done it a few times. Not using any of the opportunities, just trying to figure out how to kill your target without alerting anybody or whatever. Another way to do this is contracts, but that's just a little bit different. It's a lot harder, right? This is a lot harder, but it's all pretty much a lot more rewarding as far as I can tell. Like, it's more rewarding, I'm gonna be honest. That's what it feels like. It's more rewarding because you did it yourself. The giant levels they give you to mess around with is absolutely astounding. It's really truly a step up from Absolution, and that's what everyone wanted in this game. A step up from Hitman Absolution. In that regard, it 100% succeeded. In all regards, it 100% succeeded. This really is an awesome game. Let's go back to Sandbox really quick. I'm getting ahead of myself. Like I was saying, the huge and awesome and all of that, you know, they really are. And I also want to say that each sandbox is different. Every sandbox is big, but each sandbox is different at the same time. Each level not only takes place in a different country, but a different part of the world. Japan and Colorado are on different sides of the world. There's one that takes place in Africa. There's one that takes place in Paris, for God's sake. They're all over the place in this game. And the word that comes out to me here on my script is different. Every single one is different, and that is so refreshing in a game that is coming out in 2016. You have Call of Duty coming out, and it's space, bro. It's out. You're out there. You're looking at stars, and it's just black, and it's the same all the time. It's the same space station stuff. You're looking at games like Battlefield 1, and yeah, it's a change of scenery compared to Call of Duty, but look, you're going to be sitting in 1908 or whatever, World War I, and you're going to be staring at the same desert all day long. This game changes it up. You go from horribly lit bathhouses in Colorado to awesome huge stages in Paris in the blink of an eye if you really want to. In all seriousness, this game is crazy. It's all over the map. You know, I want to point something out here. In episode 2, you get to see the private lifestyle of a millionaire. In episode 3, you can experience the bustling markets in Marrakesh. In episode 4, you can see the American dream on a farm in Colorado. And lastly, in episode 5, you're able to experience the true 1% when you're in a hospital made for the world's 1%. You're all over the place in this game. It's crazy. And if you want a change in scenery at all from any game that's coming out recently, pick up Hitman. That's my number one thing about this game, is the levels that are just so big on different parts of the world and how deep they are. It's awesome. Hitman is perfect in almost every way. It's fun, entertaining, and probably one of the best games of 2016. I could keep talking about this game for another hour. That's how much I loved it. But then I would be wasting your time that you could possibly be spending playing this game. I didn't really touch on it here, but if you're still secure of the business model, either buy the first episode and see if you like it, or go out all out and buy season 1. Either way, I can guarantee you will not be disappointed. And with that, my name has been Z-Star. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I put a lot of work into this. I put a lot of effort into this. I put a lot of time into this video. So if you guys like to go ahead and give it a thumbs up. If you guys dislike to go ahead and give it a thumbs down. And tell me in the comments below why you rated it like you did. And I'll see you guys in the next video.